10.1 this whole week and what it means and what's been going on. But what about next week? Next week is the start of Season 2. What does that mean for the game? Well, our friend MrGM has a little breakdown of what's coming next week on Reset on Tuesday. Season 2 and what it means for us. Let's check this out.
Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Dragonflight Season 2. And in this video we're going to go through everything that is coming in Dragonflight Season 2, which is of course a part of patch 10.1 Embers of Neltharion, which has now launched. But before we jump into everything coming in Season 2, I just want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft,
yes.
Dragonflight,
We've watched him stream before.
And more, I'm over on twitch.tv.
You notice we have the same
single day.
Same little badge thing
patch
here.
10.1 has finally launched, and Season 2 is
Mr.
upon
GM
us
gave that
very,
out for
very
people to use.
soon.
Very nice
Season
of
2 of Dragonflight launches on May 9th in the NA region and May 10th in the EU. And of course, like any season, there's just a ton of new things coming to the game. So let's begin by touching on the new item upgrade system. Now, this is actually in the game in patch 10.1, but fully comes into effect more so in Season 2. But I'm going to try and explain it the best I can.
Season 2 will be the official kickoff.
PvE gear is now upgradable. There's different names for each of the piece of gear depending on what content you do. So it starts out with Explorer,
we talked about
then
this
Adventurer, Veteran, Champion, and Hero. And then obviously Mythic gear will just not be upgradable, it will just be super high item level. So each item has kind of a different name to it. So to upgrade these items, you need a new currency called Flight Stones. Flight Stones are earned through basically everything in the game. So raids,
these things
dungeons,
drop off
outdoor world content, res, chests, anything at all really will give you Flight Stones. And they are on the currency tab. Now you can hold up to 2,000 Flight Stones at a time, but there's no limit on how many you can earn. So if you get 2,000, then upgrade an item, you can earn more after that. There's no actual cap on them. It's simply just a hold cap of Flight Stones, so that's pretty good. So just Flight Stones are used to upgrade low level gear, but once you get into the higher item level gear, there's another item at play called Shadow Flame Crest. Now there are 4 different types of Shadow Flame Crest. So the first one is a Whelplin's Shadow Flame Crest. This is used to upgrade high level adventure
I'm finally
gear
starting to understand the system.
Gear. These are earned from Raid Finder, low mythic
the patch
plus,
first dropped, I had no
World
idea
Quest
what was
treasures,
going
and
on.
other activities. You can also get fragments which can be combined into a Whelplin Shadow Flame Crest. This is probably one that you've already got in your bag. The next one is a Drake's Shadow Flame Crest. This is used to upgrade higher level Veteran and low level Champion gear. So these are obtained through Aberrus bosses on normal difficulty, mythic dungeons between level 6 and 10.
I got a bunch from rares.
Weekly events in the Zaralek Cavern, and once again you can get fragments for these. The next level is Worm Shadow Flame Crest. These are used to upgrade higher level Champion and low level Hero gear, or to be used as an optional reagent for crafted gear. These are obtained through Aberrus bosses on heroic difficulty and mythic dungeons between level 11 and 15. And then the final Shadow Flame Crest is the Aspect Shadow Flame Crest. These are used to upgrade hero gear to item level 441 or to craft as a optional reagent. These are obtained through Aberrus bosses
mythic
on
level
mythic
plus level
difficulty
16
and Dragonflight Mythic plus dungeons at level 16 or
See,
above.
here's the thing, though. I mean, look at this. Hold on.
Wait.
Mr. GM. You can get it from Aberrus bosses on mythic difficulty or Dragonflight mythic dungeons above level 16. You gonna really tell me these are comparable? That mythic level raid bosses are equivalent to plus 16 dungeons? Come on. Plus 16 mythic plus is way easier than mythic raiding. I mean, we'll be able to do the first couple bosses probably in mythic raid, pugging that shit on the stream, but this is why I always say Mythic Plus, you know, it's just the easier way to gear out, unfortunately. But now we can gear out in many ways, so they've kind of fixed it a little bit.
Or above. It definitely does sound pretty complicated, but once you get into the system, it's definitely easier to understand. And as mentioned, this is already in the game already, so perhaps you already understand it anyway. So next up, let's talk about Mythic Plus. Yes, Season 2 Mythic Plus of Dragonflight is pretty different. They've definitely done some sweeping changes to Mythic Plus in Season 2, including
a lot of good
brand
changes.
New dungeon
I'm
pool,
excited
which
for
includes 4 of the Dragonflight dungeons and 4 Legacy dungeons once again. So the Dragonflight dungeons are Brackenide Hollow, Halls of Infusion, Alderman, and Neltharion, the final 4 dungeons which were not in the last season. As for the Legacy dungeons this time around, we now have Freehold from Battle for Azeroth.
Freehold's probably going to be one of the favorites.
Neltharion's Lair from Legion, and Vortex Pinnacle from the Cataclysm expansion, which is really cool because this is one of the first dungeons ever to come into Mythic Plus, which did not have Mythic Plus or Challenge Mode or anything like that.
That's right, I didn't think about that.
So it's going to be really interesting to see Vortex Pinnacle in the Mythic Plus pool.
Maybe that opens up
not a bad bunch of dungeons,
of other
honestly.
dungeons
I'm really excited for Freehold. I love Freehold. It's one of my
Scarlet
favorite
Monastery
in Battle for Azeroth.
I wish.
So yeah, really excited for that brand new dungeon pool of 8 dungeons coming in Season 2. On top of the new dungeon pool is some changes to the Mythic Plus affixes, including some new affixes, some removed affixes, and the levels that the affixes come into play. So we have 3 general new affixes this season. We don't have a seasonal affix. So the first one is Incorporeal. It says that while in combat, incorporeal beings appear and attempt to destabilize players with spells that reduce their damage and healing done. Incorporeal beings are susceptible to all forms of crowd control. The next one is called Afflicted. This says that while in combat, afflicted souls appear to seek the aid of players. Afflicted souls spawn with poison, curse, and disease afflictions. Removing any of these afflictions or restoring the soul to full health causes it to despawn. Fail to remove their afflictions in time will inflict players with a negative status effect. And finally, Entangling. This one says that while in combat, Entangling vines snare players.
Run away and rip the vines.
Those are the 3 new affixes of Season 2 of Dragonflight. These are just general affixes, not seasonal affixes. Also with Season 2, they're removing some affixes. So Quaking, Grievous, and Explosive are now retired for Season 2.
Goodbye.
And as mentioned, there is some changes to the way that affixes work with different levels. So now the affixes at level 7, that was level 4, are now Afflicted, Entangling, Incorporeal, Storming, and Volcanic.
Right. I think this is one of the best changes they've made.
14, which was level 7, is now
the
Bolstering,
affixes are gradually
Raging,
applied.
Sanguine,
You're not going to get the same amount
making
at
it
the beginning as you will
easier
towards
from the
the
looks
end.
of things, which is really nice, and kind of making it easier for new players to kind of get into
helps you get into
Mythic Plus
it.
for the first
Exactly.
time.
You're doing a low,
some really
something
great
7 or
changes.
lower.
Really looking forward to seeing how that all works out. Hopefully it's for the better.
You're not going to have your
We will
affix.
see, obviously, once Season 2 launches on May 9th and 10th. Of course, with a new season, we have a brand new raid. So the raid is called Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible.
Yes.
This is in the Zaralak Cavern in the northern part of the zone. This is the laboratory of Neltharion, abandoned for many years. This is a 9-boss raid.
I still
with some
don't know
really
which
awesome
boss drops them
encounters,
out.
from the raid testing. It seems like a lot of fun, including a fight with Neltharion, or the Echo of Neltharion, which is awesome. I tested that one and thoroughly enjoyed it. We did not test the last boss. The last boss, Scale Commander Sarkareth, has not been tested. There's some definite lore implications here, some very interesting things going on. The room is very voidy. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with that. We don't know how that fight really goes down, and obviously we will see that once the season
I need this
launches.
mouse skin, man.
Of course, with this new raid is a new bunch of
Desperately.
tier sets for each class, which look absolutely fantastic. So
The
really
rogue-
happy with the look of
rogue
the tier
and
sets.
priest were
Once
big
the hunter
Ws.
set doesn't look too bad, and the warrior set just goes way too hard for absolutely no reason. But I'm here for it. I think that's great. The last boss will also feature a Omni token for tier, so you will be able to trade this in for any tier set piece, which is really good. So that will drop from Sarkareth, and that's something new this time around. Cross faction will also be available immediately from the launch of the raid, and because of the cross faction editions, the Hall of Fame is now a combined Hall of Fame with 200 guilds in total, where it was 100 for each Horde and Alliance. So that's really interesting to see for Mythic. So the raid does launch on May 9th or 10th, depending on your region. On this day, you will get normal, heroic, mythic, and for the first time ever, the first
Raid
wing
Finder,
of Raid Finder. Then
which
2
could
weeks
be
later,
relevant
you get
because
the second wing of Raid Finder.
You know, I never do Raid Finder anymore, but maybe this season I will, at least at the very start, because that Raid Finder gear can be upgraded to a pretty good eye level. I think like to 434 or something like that. So there's going to be a reason to do Raid Finder, at least early on.
Another 2 weeks later, you'll get the third week, and then on the 20th or 21st of June, you'll get the final wing of Raid Finder, and everyone will be able to do the entire raid in its entirety. So, yeah, Aberrus looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think
as
grinding
a raid.
LFR at the start is going to be a way to go, title.
Meets Blackwing Descent, meets the graphics of Dragonflight with some really awesome encounters. So, hopefully it's a good raid. Hopefully people remember it, and the race.
Well, the two-handed sword you won't be able to get in week 1 of LFR, because I think that would drop from like wing 3.
So, yeah,
it drops from an
Shadow
Neltharion.
Crucible is the new raid of Dragonflight Season 2. As for Season 2 PvP content, unfortunately we don't have a ton of massive sweeping changes here. Really just kind of more of the same. So we have obviously a new season with some new gearing. So Honor, Conquest, all the same as it was previously. There is some changes to crafting gear. So you do have some...
In terms of aesthetic and look, the best looking questing / world gear we've ever gotten in the game. Great looking stuff. Like I remember the last time that we got world content gear that looked this good was Legion Invasions. I loved the way Legion Invasions gear looked. If you guys remember that stuff, This gear is on par with that. It's been
all the
looking
same
really
as it
good.
was
All the
previously.
world content's been
There are some
dropping
changes to
some
crafted gear,
good-looking
so you
gear.
do have some optional reagents which you can put into crafted gear, which help with PvP. But for the most part, there's no massive like new battlegrounds or arena or anything like that.
Holy
really,
shit!
this
991
time around
sparks
for PvP. There is some new rewards, though, of course. So
PTR
as
stuff, I
mentioned,
guess.
you obviously do have the tier set, but you also have the new vicious snail mounts in Horde and Alliance versions, and the gladiator
Slither
mount, which is
Drake.
now using the
Man,
winding
look at-
Slither Drake
Jeez.
appearance, which is absolutely awesome. So I love the appearance of
Badass.
that, and obviously these snails are cool as well. So yeah, not much for PvP, unfortunately, but hopefully they get something soon. It has been teased, so yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. As for outside world content players, we of course get some updates to the Dragon Isles and the Zaralak Cavern. Firstly, of course, we have a brand new world boss in the Zaralak Cavern, which is actually two massive Jarden called Vakan and...
Is this available yet? I haven't
Gnola?
seen it.
Yep, that's probably not how it's pronounced, but you get the idea. These drop 415 loot and are located
I want
on
it.
the
I want it.
left-hand
There's
side
four-
of the
I
zone.
can get
in
415
the Zaralak
gloves, man. I
Cavern.
need 'em.
They'll be available from day one of this season.
The problem with the 415 loot from the world boss is I heard in the last thing we watched is it's not upgradable, which is weird because everything else is.
Also in the Zaralak Cavern will be the brand new Researchers Under
Nope,
Fire
it's still
event.
dragons,
This is a new
okay.
event, similar
be
to
part
your
of
soups and your sieges
next
and things
week
like
then,
that.
probably.
This is a weekly event that you want to do at least once a week.
Same with this
for
weekly
some of the
event.
really
This is
great rewards.
next week.
This rewards some upgradable gear as well as Dragon Scale rep for each task that
This
you
is all part of
complete,
season
and
2, I guess,
completing
which is
the
not until next
event,
week.
also gives you 250 Loam Niffin rep from doing it weekly. So this is a really interesting event. So it's located in the middle of the Zaralak Cavern. The way that it works is there's 12 tasks that you have to complete. On the PTR, we didn't get too far because there wasn't a ton of people testing it, but obviously once it goes live, there's going to be loads of people doing it. So you get rewards for each 3 tasks that you complete. So if you don't complete up to 3 tasks, you get no reward, but you do get a reward once you complete 3, 6, 9, and 12, with the kind of items and things inside it getting better as you complete it. There is a chance
Long-legged
of a mount
boys.
dropping from
Those
the
are
very
cool.
lowest tier of reward and upwards, which is the Catalog Shelving, which is one of the new Mana Ray mounts of the Zaralak Cavern. There's also a bunch of achievements
mounts
as
are
well
okay
attached to
looking.
this event, including a meta achievement which rewards the Field Researcher title. So a pretty interesting event, pretty active, so you will be flying
said
around
season,
killing
not
things
pre,
and things
yeah.
like that. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the soup where you're just kind of throwing stuff in. But yeah,
I'm just
very
being
interested
angry.
to see
That's
how
it.
this works fully once we have a lot more players playing it once the season begins. And finally, in the regular Dragon Isles, you will notice a new thing called the Farak Assaults. This is the
I'm actually very
camps.
excited
So
for these. I
this
think
is
they're
a
going to be
brand
cool.
new invasion event, which is happening on the Dragon
I
Isles.
like any
The
kind of
regular
content that
Elemental
brings
Storm
all the
events will
players in the
continue to
world
happen,
together.
But this happens
makes-
in the Yonaran Plains or
makes
the
it feel like
Azure
you're playing an
span,
MMO.
depending on the day. You'll know
Which is
which
nice.
zone it's in by seeing this new icon on the map.
Yeah.
From the looks of things,
Look
it
at
is
that.
up all the time, but I guess we'll find out more information about that once that does come in. We haven't had full confirmation on how often this event will be up, but from the looks of things, it is going to be up most of the time. So the long short of this is essentially it's similar to Assaults in the Moor. So you're going to fly over to the zone. You'll see that it's changed. There's fire everywhere. There's Jarrodin. There's Primalists. It's all kind of crazy. There's dragons, and you'll have some
Cool.
quests to complete. These quests can reward some loot and some reputation, depending on the zone. So the Azure spam will obviously give Tuskar rep.
Nice.
And the
I need
Yonaran Plains
Tuskar
will
rep.
give Centaur
I still
rep.
need
What you want
Tuskar
to do
rep.
here is complete these quests, obviously. You also notice a bar at the top, which is Farak's Fury. Once Farak's Fury is full, Farak will invade the zone in a very, very awesome visual, very akin to Deathwing flying into
Big
the
fire
zone.
bubble.
He'll swoop in and drop off a boss. This is a weekly boss, so you want to kill this at least once a week, which does have a chance at 411 item level loot, and it will also drop a quest which gives one of the new crests. To
411
upgrade your
that can
gear.
be
So Farak
upgraded.
Assault's definitely worth doing at least once a week. A bunch of achievements once again attached to those, so you want to check
Ooh.
that out
Holy
once
crap.
that launches on
A
May
Farak
9th or
one-shot.
10th. So yeah, that's everything coming in Season 2 of Dragonflight. A little kind of addition here. We didn't actually get the Winding Slither Drake, so the Winding Slither Drake will also come in Season 2. So you
Yeah.
will be getting your 5th Dragon Riding Mount and a few more chapters of the Zaralak Cavern campaign when Season 2 launches, which is exciting. But that's basically everything. Let me know down below what you think of Dragonflight Season 2. The
I've already
Mythic
got some new
changes,
customizations for
the
the
sad
Slither
changes
Drake.
to PvP,
But just
all of the
waiting to get the
outdoor
Slither
events.
Drake,
There's
yeah.
quite a lot to do, and I'm really looking forward to it as usual. And yeah, I'm just a fan of Dragonflight, and I'm just more excited for more Dragonflight.
It's been good.
to be honest. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I also have a Patreon, and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I
GM's
have
the
a
man.
Discord as
He's a
well.
follower of the
And
channel.
as mentioned, I am
say?
streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. We're over there. Dragonflight PTR 10.15 PTR coming up real soon, so we're going to be testing that, of course. So if you want to check me out, guys, twitch.tv/MrGM every single day.
There it is.
And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.
Great stuff.